in the midst of a lot of school changes as a result of being in a pandemic. One of the age groups that finds it most particularly difficult to do virtual school are kids in JK to grade 3. Today's show is focused on how parents can support kids who are in primary grades. My guests will provide tips and resources for you to use right away with your kids. Welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I'm your host, Cathy Thompson. My first guest today is Susan Grace. Sue is the owner of Beyond the Classroom Guelph. She's also the curriculum consultant for Beyond the Classroom's customized curriculum service. Susan has taught and tutored kids for over 20 years. Her main focus has always been to help kids succeed in any way that they can. As such, she often delves into the curriculum to make sure students are covering what they need to learn. Welcome to the show, Sue.
Thanks, Cathy. Glad to be here.
I should say welcome back. You are a regular on the Beyond the Classroom show.
Yes, I am starting to be a regular.
You're my go-to for everything curriculum. So today we are talking about this particular curriculum for students in JK to grade 3. I know right now with the pandemic and kids doing the virtual school, it's all over the map. It depends on the children. It depends on the teachers. You know, what's going on in the house. There's so many factors right now that are influencing how kids are learning. So I really wanted to talk to you today about supporting parents. I know a lot of parents are anxious that their kids are falling behind right now. Luckily, we're all in a pandemic, so everybody is sort of falling behind. But I know that there are some concerns with those families that aren't necessarily able to do the virtual school with the really little ones. And so I just wanted to talk to you about that today.
Yep. Oh, I feel for the families with kids in kindergarten to grade 3 right now. It's hard, especially if you are trying to balance work and homeschooling. And if you have more than one child, well, it's just probably mass chaos in your house. So did you want me to touch on curriculum or just give some tips for making that process of schooling, virtual schooling, a little easier? Which would you?
To start, and let's talk for parents, for primary parents K to 3. What are some tips to make their lives easier? I think that's what we all want to know. How can we do this?
Right.
And do some easy things with our kids or hard things, whatever it takes to keep our kids on track during this highly unusual time.
First thing I would like to say is to, number one, stay positive, because your kids feed off your energy. So if you are positive, they will feed off that. So use terms such as, all right, we're going to make it a good day. Oh, look at that. Oh, even if you make a mistake or something went wrong, oh, we disconnected. Okay, well, we'll just reconnect back on. Like, they will feed off that. And it's really important to maintain that. Second, and this is going to be different for every single family, try and build a schedule so that, and it's really hard right now because every child has different times to be online, and then you've got meetings, but try and get some sort of schedule. Let kids know, like the night before, okay, so you're going to start off your day like this. And then when mama's doing this or daddy's doing this, I want you to do this. So let them know, because kids function better when they know what's happening.
And is there, in terms of that scheduling tip, are there ways that parents can engage the kids in developing that schedule? Would that get them to feel maybe a little bit more autonomy?
I think so. Yeah. And the more you give them input into the schedule, the more they will buy into that schedule.
Okay.
And just review it with them throughout the day. And be flexible. Sometimes the schedule is not going to stick and you're going to have to change. Something's going to come up, or, the kids just aren't having that good a day. You're going to mix it up. And that's okay. That's completely okay. Feel free to mix it up. Again, your energy dictates how their day goes.
I can see that definitely, because kids do feed off their parents' energy. And I find as a working parent, when I'm stressed, I tend to just be more direct with the kids or not listening, as thoroughly as I can. And they can really pick up on that. So almost the
Yeah.
parents have to be a little bit grounded themselves and just take a deep breath, be like, okay, this
I
is
can do
not a
that.
work colleague
Yeah.
giving me pressure. This is my kid. They're under pressure. I'm under pressure. I'm sure that's happening a lot.
Well, and I think that's one thing to keep in mind is to take the pressure off.
Hmm.
We are all in the same situation. Um, by putting extra pressure on, it just radiates. So
Hmm.
take a deep breath, especially when you're frustrated. Take a break if you need to. Shut it down. Go back fresh.
Hmm.
But don't let it get to you.
I think that's
Um,
easier said than done sometimes, as a parent. And I think, what if parents just can't manage it? I know there's a lot of jobs where you're in meetings all day or you've got heavy assignments and you're simply not able to manage this synchronous where the teacher's teaching and you're interacting all day. Should parents call the teacher or call the school? Do you know, like, what can they do?
yeah, keep the communication open with the teacher. Okay, that's very important. You can call us, of course, at Beyond the Classroom. We will give you a tutor. We have an amazing online platform, or we can just give you some guidance. Call one of us. We've got things in we can supply for you. Also, you can do things that don't have to be specifically schooling. So
Mm-hmm.
take time at lunch and do some cutting something and take that pizza and cut it into pieces and do a little fraction lesson, do some baking, step away. You can order workbooks, you can do online um, programs, but the kids are already online a lot, so I would recommend trying to get them outside, trying to give them other things to occupy their mind. Give them a stack of Lego and let them build. Trust me, that is all good for them.
Yeah, and just off the Lego. I know ours is in the basement collecting dust for someday for that build. And I think, adults and kids of all ages could really benefit from that creativity and the fine motor and just, having a good time and being creative
Yeah.
together.
Or Play-Doh. Play-Doh is awesome. You
Yeah.
can do so many things. Do create models. It's very stress relieving. It's like a stress ball.
That's true, actually. That's true. And so, my next question was about what can we do as parents to make learning engaging? And so, some of those hands-on activities sounds like those would be something we could try.
Yeah, definitely go with hands-on. Again, lighten up. Don't take it so seriously. Have some fun. Okay, one of the best things in the world is getting your kids involved in a board game. There's so many educational aspects to that, as well as the social aspect
Hmm.
of learning to, you know, lose gracefully or take turns. All of that comes into play. And that is one thing that the pandemic, we're doing our best with the curriculum, but the kids are missing out on the social. So if we can take that at home time and make it a little bit more social, make it fun, get the kids engaged, the day's going to fly by and they're still learning.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And yeah, engage. And I find as parents, we did a show recently on engaging kids in physical activity and getting outside and doing things like that. And it was really the message was parents doing it with their kids, doing it together, learning a new activity together, jumping rope or having a snowball fight or tobogganing
Yeah,
or just, with the pandemic, there are restrictions, but we are still allowed to go outside. We're still allowed to be with our family and really be engaged in learning,
yeah,
outside the classroom.
yeah. Remember, like working parents always want more time with their kids, and now we have it, and it's just a matter of how we approach it.
Are you sure? No, I'm kidding. They'd be like, I got my wish. But it's true, though. I mean, statistics before the pandemic were, quality time parents spending with their kids. I think that it was less than 20 minutes a day. And parents would argue, I'm with my kids all the time. But it's, cooking dinner for people, driving people here, sitting and waiting
Yeah,
here, a lot of activity based rather than that concrete
yeah,
engagement. So, like you were saying, the board games, teaching the social skills, but also that engagement piece.
yeah. Game, a deck of cards can do wonders. Keep them,
Yeah.
they're not used to playing cards anymore, so give them a deck of cards. They'll be engaged for a while.
Yeah, give them a rotary phone. They'll be engaged for a while. Figure this out. Yeah, bring back all the old relics from the basement, the Walkman.
Yeah.
So let's talk about curriculum expectations. So for JK to grade 3, I know, myself talking to parents of Beyond the Classroom, there's a lot of concern, especially in kindergarten, grade 1, about kids falling behind in their reading and writing. So is that sort of what you want to talk about?
Sure. Do you want sort of like the end of grade 1, kids should be reading short stories
Okay.
and writing short sentences. From there, it just grows. So, by grade 2, you want them reading, little mini chapter books and reading more fluently and being able to tell you more details about the story. And again, don't make it sort of teacher directed. You're the parent. You don't have to teach. Make it parent directed. So what was in your book? What was great about it? What do you remember? That sort of thing. And then by grade 3, you want way more specific details. So again, with and reading longer books more fluently.
Okay.
Same with math. It builds. So in grade 1, working with numbers up to 50. Grade 2, working with numbers up to 200. Grade 3, you're working with numbers up to 1,000. Everything builds. Okay. So you want to start them where they are and then just build. And if they're interested in something, go with it. Let them learn.
Okay.
That'd be my advice as a teacher and a parent.
Yeah, for sure. And so in terms of that math piece, even like throwing some coins on the counter and some, bills and, learning about money or learning about time when you're making your schedule. So incorporating those pieces of the curriculum into some
financial literacy, now a part of the new math curriculum, actually.
Yes. We did a show on that. You were there.
I was there.
Absolutely. So in our last minute or so together, can you share some resources that parents can access as it relates to what we're talking about today, just supporting learning at home, really?
Okay, so I did take sort of the basics out of the Ontario curriculum because it is pages and pages long, and I put that together and sent it to you. And it's the basics because I know that's all we have time for right now. And those are your key points to go through. So those I've sent to you, and I know you have those to give to our viewers. And then I found on Pinterest there were a lot of great go-tos. Some of them get a little out there, but that's okay because some of them every family's different. So every article is going to appeal to different people, but a lot of them have tips. I sent those to you as well. Just stick with it, be positive, and you will get through this. Take a deep breath.
Thank you. I love that. We're closed with take a deep breath because that's what we all need, right? Let's take it back to basics. Well, thank you so much for being here on the show again, Sue. I really appreciate your time, your expertise. The documents that you did send to me will be available on beyondtheclassroom.ca/TV once this episode airs. So I'll get that off to our viewers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Welcome back to the show, everyone. My next guest is Cheryl Burkland. Cheryl is the owner of Beyond the Classroom Milton and Flamborough, which includes Waterdown, Dundas, and Ancaster. She's also an Ontario certified teacher in the primary and junior divisions with a master's degree in health promotion and a passion for physical activity and nature. She is also a coach, an advocate for children's sport and wellness, an education speaker, a volunteer in the community, and the founder of an awesome summer camp for kids, Create You. most importantly, and why you're here on today's show, is that you're a mom of 3 kids. Welcome to the show, Cheryl.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, my first question, how's it going out there in the virtual schooling?
I wasn't sure how to answer this question, to be honest. To be totally honest with you, it is so much harder than I anticipated. It is so difficult. And honestly, I really feel for all the parents out there trying to do this and manage their lives and their own health and their kids' learning. It is crazy with the competing demands of parenthood. And not only that, but if you have more than one child or a child with special needs, or you're perhaps a single parent, it's very difficult. So I just want to acknowledge that for every parent watching this, you are not alone, first of all.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah.
And so how old are your children?
So I have a child in grade 1, another one in grade 3, and one in grade 7. So luckily the grade 7 is pretty independent, but having kids in primary grades is challenging. They're wonderful kids, but my goodness, it is a challenge. So between assisting with technology and trying to, they require a lot of attention, right? And no fault of their own, and goodness, no fault of the teachers at all. God bless them. But it's tough. Like there's so many demands on them and on us as parents. It's rough. It's very rough. It's busy. The days are very, very busy.
I can only imagine. And of course you have more than one full-time job. And so, yeah.
I do have a couple of jobs as well. Yeah. Honestly, it would be slightly more fun, perhaps if you didn't have competing other demands. But even if you don't work outside the home or whatever your situation is, honestly, when you become a parent, a teacher, a cook, a cleaner, I don't know what else is there, sometimes a therapist, if you have kids that require a lot of support, you're a personal support worker, you're a shoulder to cry on, you're pretty well become everything. So I think that's the biggest change from sort of this typical school environment to going to virtual learning. With primary kids, you are their everything. And then you still have demands of your job, and other career, whatever you happen to be doing, all those don't go away. People still need to eat as well. So it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. And to the virtual learning, what would you say that is the biggest challenge? I know you've said a lot of different things, but is it because they're on the computer and learning at different times, like the synchronous learning, or is it just the sheer amount of attention they need?
I think with primary kids in particular, in my experience, it's sort of a combo of everything. But I would say, every time there's a technology glitch or something goes wrong, you can't expect a 6-year-old to figure it out or troubleshoot that on their own. So there's that. You are like balancing multiple curriculums going on. So that's fine. But, it's like the demands of, they need help, and there's no physical person there to help them. So the synchronous part is great, and teachers are doing a great job trying to keep the flow going and make sure all the kids have a chance to speak and do all those great things. But when it comes to the asynchronous learning, then they're sort of on their own. And if they're not independent learners, which I'd say 90% of the kids are not at this point, they need your help. They need to ask questions, and they need that piece of connection to assure them they're doing well and give them that positive reinforcement that they can't get through a computer. So it's tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you were talking about that connection piece. And so this just popped in my head. I just wonder for siblings out there, are siblings helping each other navigate, or do you find they're more connected or less connected? Has their relationship changed at all?
I think it depends on the family, right? And your situation. I think it's great. I think that there is a deep down a connection being built in some form. But they all have their own stresses too. And I think this kind of virtual learning environment, coupled with the lockdown and all these other things, yes, they bring kids closer together, I think. But it also, they all brings out their own struggles too, right? So because each child is so different, and you look at the whole child, it's a whole package of joys and successes. And then, every kid doesn't feel well at different times, and they miss the connection of other people besides their siblings if they're lucky enough to have one. Or sometimes, certain siblings require a lot of attention from the parent, and they're left alone a lot too. So that also comes to light. So it is a challenge. It's a competing challenge for all the kids and the parents at home, I'd say.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big proponent of obviously physical activity, getting out in nature, getting
Totally.
some air. How do you get the kids out and get them active during this crazy hectic day?
You know what? And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I have to scream at them to get outside, and it's a forced issue. But I will tell you honestly, from my background in physical education for so many years, as a teacher, as a parent, you have to get your kids outside if possible. I know it's not always possible or easy. It's not easy. What kid at this point wouldn't prefer just to lump down on the couch and sit on their iPad? Not every kid after they've been on their iPad all day, but honestly, we created this system, and my kids think I'm crazy, but I don't care what they say. They're way nicer kids, and they learn significantly better when they move, calm, and release. So honestly, if there's 3 things you can do at home: move, get your kids to move. I don't care if it's like you're doing a dance, if you're just being silly in the kitchen, if they're doing push-ups, if they're out, if they have to do laps around your yard, if you're lucky enough to have a yard, move. They have to move. They have to get their blood moving to their brain, and so they can learn, and they have to calm at some point, because honestly, this virtual learning environment, it's really good for lots of kids, but for lots of kids, it brings them to the point where their nervous system is very on edge. And so if you don't take the opportunity, if they don't take the opportunity, or if you don't make them take the opportunity to calm through whatever that is, whether it's just a couple of deep breaths or whatever you can do, that really just brings their nervous system down to a point where they can learn. So move and calm and then release. Today, I'll tell you what I did today 3 times. I took my son Carson, who is 8, and I could just see I can see his nervous system's like, and he just had this pent up frustration and irritation. And I said, let's get outside and just scream. And he's like, excuse me? He's used to the indoor voice, right? So anyway, we went outside and we just screamed and yelled and just did some crazy stuff. And it took 30 seconds and he was back in ship shape. So whatever you can do, move your kids' bodies so they can get that learning and focus and get through their day.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's crazy, but it's true. And when they sniff nature, they are better people. It's true.
Nature.
They do. They have to sniff the trees. I tell them, you have to smell the air. You have to. So yeah, please do it.
That's funny. Today I had my daughter go out and do a TikTok dance out in the backyard. That was her physical activity. Go do a dance.
Fun. You got 2 for 1 on that one. It's great. No, exactly. They don't even know how much they're being helped by it, but it is helping them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you were talking about the nervous system before, and I know previous to virtual school and the pandemic, so many studies were ramping up about screen time. And I know that's not really a topic we're talking about today, but I just think, what could be the ramifications through this virtual schooling? The kids are keeping up with the curriculum, but what's happening? Could something be happening to their nervous system with the lack of activity?
It really does change a child. Like, I know we don't have a lot of options at this point, and we will do what you have to do. But if you notice that your child is on edge, if they're irritable, if they're angrier, and I know these things can happen in other instances, but if you do notice things like that, which I notice of my own kids, whether they're playing games on there or learning or whatever, like, people are only meant for so much of that. So just go outside. Honest to God, you can really counterbalance that edge of your nervous system by the calming nature outside. And even if it's gloomy, rainy, crappy, whatever it happens to be great if it would snow, but anyway, that's another point. Just sniff the air. Honest to God, just go out there and breathe in your own biomes and your own, just do it. And it helps. I mean, you can't change the way they have to learn at this point, but if you need to take a break, take a break. If you need to get off for a bit, get off. Just go do something outside if you can.
I think some parents might feel a little bit nervous about not going along and being in that virtual classroom
Yeah.
all day for the kids. And I know they take breaks. I think they take breaks.
Yeah.
High school, they don't really take breaks. It's pretty short. They just kind of
Yeah.
plow through. And so
Yeah.
it's hard, sitting for that long. But I just wonder, for parents that are just like, I can't do this, would you advise them to reach out to a teacher? Um, you know, what could they do to get their kids the learning, but also move through the curriculum with class?
You know what? Lots of kids, you have to do what's best for your own child, obviously, but lots of kids were reaching out to their teacher to just do asynchronous learning. So you can do a learning package. I know that's not ideal for all parents, though, because they do need time to work as well. And they do want their child to be connected to their classroom setting. But even if you can do some of that, my advice to parents would be to do one quality thing a day. Just do one thing of quality, whether it's a piece of writing, whether it's a journal, whether it's a piece of math, whatever it's related to the curriculum. Just do something of quality related to school, do something of quality related to your relationship, and don't worry about completing every single thing. As a teacher, I really want my kids to get that curriculum knowledge and understanding and all that, but at this point, their mental health is more important to me. So really try to do something of quality so that you can know going to bed that you've done something well instead of trying to cram it all in. That's my advice.
Really good advice, Cheryl. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, last a little bit together, can you recommend some resources that parents can access of what you're speaking about today?
To be honest, I mean, I'm happy to send you a bunch of stuff, but anything that you can do to get your kids active. So whether it's for primary kids, whether it's just like a Go Noodle video, Just Dance is great. But resources in terms, if you want to read more of the research around nature, that's fine. But really going outside is your best option for everything your kid needs.
Right, great.
I know it's
And
simple, it's true.
and you know what? I think that goes true for adults. It's easy to
It
send
does.
kids out the door to get stuff done.
Yeah,
But for us to get grounded and feel calm, I think we could do that too. So thank you so much
totally.
for being on the show today,
Thank you
Cheryl.
for having me. This is great. Thanks.
I just want to extend a huge thank you to both Sue and Cheryl for being guests on my show today. I learned a lot of different tips that parents of kids in grades JK to 3 can use with a virtual school. It sounds like above all else, us as parents, we need to take a big breath and get outside in nature. I think that those things will really help us as parents deal with this, and how we feel will really translate into how our kids are feeling. For more information about today's program, please visit our website, beyondtheclassroom.ca. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.